we will use the if else if. Next if meaning one if available inside the another if. And then after that we will discuss about the switch cases. So today we'll discuss about the looping statements. Looping statements. So the main what is the main purpose of the looping statements is the main purpose is to execute the statements repeatedly to execute the statements repeatedly to execute the statement repeatedly to execute the statements repeatedly. So in Java we have below loops. In Java we have below loops. What are the below loops? First one is while loop, and the second one is do while. And third one is for loop. Fourth one is for each loop. The main purpose of looping statements is to execute the statements repeatedly. So looping statement which is used to execute the statements repeatedly. Execute the statements repeatedly. In Java we have the loops. In Java we have the below loops. One is the while loop, second one is the do while loop, third one is the for loop, and fourth one is the for each loop. Clear with this one? Looping statement meaning it will execute the statements repeatedly. And in Java we have the below loops: while loop, do while loop, for loop, and for each loop. Okay, so we'll go with while loop. What does it mean by while loop, and what is the purpose of the while loop? So we'll try to discuss with it. The first main definition is which is used to execute the statements until the condition is true. Which is used to execute the statements until the condition is true. The main purpose of looping statements is to execute the statements repeatedly. So we are going one by one. So first we are discussing about the while loop. In the while loop, the main purpose of while loop is which is used to execute the statements until the condition is true. Okay. Is there any syntax for the while loop? Yes, we have the syntax. Is there any syntax for the while loop? Yes, we have the syntax. First one while, and here we need to take the condition. I would say here we should take the condition, and then from here to here, this is the scope of while block. From curly braces and ending the curly braces. First it will check the condition. If the condition is okay, and then based on the condition, it will execute the statement. For example, some normal program I will take here. For example, I will take one demo file, then we'll get the clarity. I will take one demo file. Here I will create one file, new text document. So here I will mention while demo .java. Simply I am opening the document. Public class while demo. And here public static void name string aux, and from here to here, this is the scope of while method. So first I am initializing with some value int I equal to, I am taking int I equal to 1, int I equal to 1, and here I am taking the condition while. So here what I am taking is I less than or equal to 10, I less than or equal to 10, I less than or equal to 10. From here to here, this is the scope of curly braces while block. If you observe here, here I would like to write some statements like system dot out dot println. Here I would like to take any write some statements hello. If you observe here, the main purpose of looping statements is to execute statements repeatedly. So I am going with the while loop. What is the purpose of while loop is it is also execute the statements until the condition is true. If you observe here, I have initialized the variable, and here I am checking the condition. For example, if you see here, I is holding the value is 1, I less than or equal to 10. Is it true or false? True. So instead of while, if I take the if, so what will happen in this case? This print statement will print or not? Print. It will print. So we'll try with this one. I will where the file is there, and simply go there. You can open command prompt. Control. You can open the command prompt, and then you can check Java C while demo.java. So the file has compiled Java while demo. If you observe here, so if you mention the if, the statement will be print only one time. It will execute only one time. But my requirement is if I want to print the statement multiple times. If I want to print the same statement multiple times, then we will go for the looping concept. If you observe here, if I am going with if approach, I have to print this statement only one time. But if I want to print the statement multiple times, so in that time we will go for the looping statement. So instead of now you can tell me. So I am initializing I is equal to 1. I is holding the value is 1, and while now we can check 1 is less than or equal to 10. Is it true or false? True. So if I compile this file and if I execute the this file, then what will be the result? Continuously. It will print repeatedly. Why? Because while the main purpose is it will execute the statements until the condition is true. So for example, I am opening command prompt. If you observe here, if you see, it is continuously printing. It is continuously executing the statements repeatedly. So if I open my laptop after 10 days also, it is continuously repeating. If I open my laptop after 1 year also, it will be continuously repeating. Only the laptop should have the charging, so it will be continuously repeating. Okay. So now you get the clarity, like if and while is it will execute the statements repeatedly until the condition is true. So like so I will terminate this one. Control C. Okay. And then if you observe here I am using, if I use the decrement, then what will happen? So this is the increment or decrement? Post decrement. So if I would say if I mention the decrement, then what will happen? It will print 10 times. First you can observe, first I is holding value is 1. Value is 1. So it will print one time, and then like the controller will goes and I will decrement 1, meaning I value 0. 0 is less than or equal to 10. 0 is less than or equal to 10. So it will check the condition and we'll see Java see while demo.java and demo. It is also continuously printing. It is also continuously printing. Terminate. Why? Because I have saved the file. Save the file and simply go here. So first initial value 10, I is holding 1. So when the value is decrement, so the I value got 0. 0 is less than or equal to 10. Yes. So again it is one value is reducing. Any value it is reducing. All the values are less than 10. So that's why it is continuously repeating the statement. Now you can tell me, if I use the I++, what does it mean? What is happening internally? First, I is holding the value and I less than or equal to 10. Yes, it like condition is true and it will execute the statement, and now controller will get to here I++, meaning now I is holding 2 is less than or equal to 10. Then controller the statement will execute and the controller goes to here and I increment. Now I is holding the value is 3 is less than or equal to 10, and this statement will execute I++. So now I is holding the 4 is less than or equal to 10, and controller will print this statement and I++. Now I is holding the value 5 and I less than or equal to 10, and this SOP statement will print I++. Again controller will goes to now I is holding value 6 is less than or equal to 10, and this statement will print I++, and again I is holding 7 is less than or equal to 10, this statement will print and I++. Meaning one value increase, and now I is holding the value 8 and 8 less than or equal to 10, again this statement will print and I++. Now I is holding the value 9 less than or equal to 10, and this statement will print I++. Now I is holding the value 10 less than or equal to 10. Now again the statement will print and I++. Now I is holding the value 11. So 11 is less than or equal to 10. No. So until the while loop is for like execute the statements until the condition is true. So whenever the condition is satisfied, then the controller got terminated. So if you observe this file, you will get so instead of this one, if I will take I'm saving the file and going to my command prompt. If you see, you got it, like what is happening internally. It is holding the value, it will check the condition. If the condition is satisfied, it will print the statement and increment. One value is increment, whatever the value is increment, that value will hold I, and that value will check with the condition. The condition is satisfied, it will print this one. And again the loop is iterating until the condition is satisfied. Again the loop is iterating until the condition is satisfied. Clear with this point? While loop, clear with this point? Main purpose of while loop is which is used to execute the statements until the condition is true. If the condition is not true, so it will execute continuously. If you open the laptop after 20 days, after 10 days, after 1 year also, the statements will execute continuously. The statements will execute continuously. This is the syntax for the while loop. Here we have the statements. Here we have the statements. First it will check the condition, and until the condition is satisfied, it will execute the statements. It will execute the statement. So this is the example for the while loop. I have initialized, and I have taken the one condition, and here we have system statement and increment. So whenever you are increasing one value, so all the times it will print whenever the condition is true, then finally the controller got terminated. Controller got terminated. You guys clear with this point? Why do? So should I go for the next one? Next one is the do while. Do while loop. So here which is used to execute the statement first, and then it will check the condition. Execute the statement first, and then it will check the condition, Is there any syntax for the do while? Yes, we have the syntax. Syntax is for the do while is first to do, and from here to here, this is the scope of do block, and after that here we'll be having, here we have some statements, here we have statements, and here we have the statements, and here we have the condition, while condition. We have the condition. Do while loop is which is used to execute the statements, first, and then it will check the condition. In case of while loop is, it will execute statements until the condition is true. So only little difference. It will execute first. Do meaning it immediately execute, and then check the condition. Before checking the condition, it will execute at least one time. Before the checking the condition, it will execute at least one time. So I will. This is the syntax for the do while loop. Syntax for do while loop. This is the syntax for the do while loop. Do and while, meaning do while loop, which is used to execute the statements first, and then it will check the condition, So before checking the condition, it will at least execute the statement at one time. So I will write one. I will take one file. I will mention do while. Take new file. I mention do while .java, or you can mention do while demo.java. This is the main scope of the class, and we should take the main method, public static void main string args, and here we can take with scope of this one, scope of main method. So you can initialize I with some value, So if you see here, so do, and from here to here, this is the do block, and here what I am mentioning is, so I will take the sys statement, and in this statement, sys statement, here I need to pass some hello, or I am passing hi, and here I will take the condition. I will take the condition. The condition is I less than or equal to 10. I less than or equal to 10. Less than or equal to 10. Now we can add semicolon. If you observe here, now you can tell me what will be the result. So first we have initialized with I with 10. Now I is holding the value is 10, and the controller will goes to the do block, and it will execute, and then it will check. So before checking the condition, it will execute at least one time. Before checking the condition, it will execute at least one time. It will execute at least one time. So in this case, what will happen? So I would say the controller goes to inside the block, and it will execute, and then it will check the condition. If you observe here, I is holding the value 10. So instead of 10, I will take the 1. Now I is holding the value 10. So it will check the condition. I is less than or equal to 10 or not. Yes. What it will again? What it will do again? I would say it will go. It will go upside, and 1 is less than or equal to 10. 1 is less than or equal to 10. Then the condition is satisfied, and again it will go, and the continuously this will, loop will be continuously, it will print. The statement will be repeatedly. So I will go here, and here I would like to mention Java C, do while demo dot Java, and Java do while demo. If you see, hi is printing continuously. If you open that laptop after 1 year also, the statements will execute continuously. The statement will execute continuously. So I will terminate. So Control C. If you press the Control C, so the program got terminated. So we need to mention increment or decrement. Increment or decrement. So if I mention like this, what will happen? First I is holding the value, it will print this statement, and then I value increase by 1. Now I is holding the value 2, the 2 less than or equal to 10. Yes, it will again, it will goes to inside, and it will print, and one value increase, meaning I is holding 3, it will check the condition, and 3 is less than or equal to 10 or not. So 3 is less than or equal to 10. Again the control will goes to inside the do block, and it will print, and again I plus plus meaning one value increase, meaning 5. 3 after 3 4, 4 is less than or equal to 10. So it will check until the condition is true. It will check until the condition is true. The statements will execute. If you can observe here, I will save this file. I will save this file. If you see the result, it has printed only 10 times. It has printed only 10 times. So instead of I, if I take the I am saving the file, I will save the file, and if you see the result, if you see the result, it has printed from 1 to 10. It has printed from 1 to 10. It has printed from 1 to 10. So in the interview perspective, the regular question they will ask is, what is the difference between the while and do while loop? What is the difference between while and do while loop? While and do while loop. So this is the regular question they will ask. While and do while loop. So while loop meaning, which is used to execute the statements, until the condition is true. Until condition is true, until condition is true. And do while, in case of do while is, which is also used to statements, is used to execute the statements, execute execute the statements first, and then check the condition, and then check the condition, and check the condition. So, while loop, which is used to execute the statements until the condition is true, until the condition is true. Do while is, it will execute first, it will execute the statement first, and then check the condition, and check the condition. So before checking the condition, so you need to remember in the do while, before checking the condition, before checking the condition, it will execute statements at least one time. Before checking the condition, it will execute statements at least one time. It will execute the statements at least one time. At least one time. So this difference you can remember. While meaning it will execute the statements until the condition is true. Do while meaning it will execute the statement first and then check the condition. Note is, before checking the condition, it will execute the statements at least one time. At least one time. So I hope you guys are clear with this point. While loop, do while loop. You guys are clear with this point. Clear? You guys clear with this point? So please read these all the points. ఫస్ట్ కండిషన్ చెక్ చేస్తుంది. కండిషన్ చెక్ చేసి ఆ కండిషన్ ఓకే అయితే ట్రూ అయితే లోపలికి వెళ్తుంది, ప్రింట్ చేస్తుంది. అలాగా ఆ కండిషన్ సాటిస్ఫై అయ్యే వరకు ప్రింట్ చేస్తూనే ఉంటుంది. Guys, please read these points. While loop meaning which is used to execute the statements until the condition is true. And please read these statements. What is the difference between the while loop and do while loop? Statements until the condition is true. Do while loop, which is used to execute the statements first and then check the condition. And note is, before checking the condition, it will execute the statement at least one time. At least one time. You guys clear with this point? So the program, if I open the while demo, if you see, first initialization, condition. So we can take three steps. Step number one, initialization. Step number two, condition. And step number three, increment. Step number three, increment. Three steps are in three places, three lines. So first step is, you can under main method, first step is initialization. Second step is condition. Third step is increment. Increment. If you see, initialization, condition, and increment. So in while loop, three statements are available in different lines. Like this is in one line initialization, this is in one line, and this is one line. In case of for loop, so all the statements should be in the one line itself. So I will open. So first I will I will put the heading for loop. The main purpose of for loop also, which is used to execute the statements repeatedly, which is used to execute execute the statements repeatedly, execute the statements repeatedly. The main purpose of for loop also same. For loop also same. Then for is range based loop. For is range based loop. I would say it is the range based loop. Range based loop. Meaning, if you this is the purpose of the for loop. If you observe while loop, can you please read this one? Until the condition is true. Meaning it there also all the like statements will execute until the condition is true. If you please read this one repeatedly, then what is the difference between like in the interview perspective they will ask what is the difference between while and for loop. For loop, for is the range based loop. Mm. 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 This one is the range like we'll try to understand what does it mean by range. So first we'll try to understand the syntax. Is there any syntax for the for loop? As we have the syntax. As we have the syntax. The syntax is for and first we need to initialize. In the while and do while we are taking initialization in one line and condition in one line and incremented line. So in case of for we should take all in only one line. Int I equal to int I equal to 1 and then condition I less than or equal to 10 and I increment. You guys clear with this point? What we did in the while and do while, what we are doing in the for loop. So in the while case we are taking this initialization in one line, this condition in one line, this increment in one line. In case of for loop we are doing all in one line only. We are doing all in one line only. So in the one line itself we are initializing, we are checking the condition and we are incrementing. So here I will take some statements here. Statements. So in this case, what will happen? Now I is holding the value 1. It will check the condition. I is less than or equal to 10. Yes. And then what will happen? And then what will happen? So it will check the condition and it will print the statements and what I is increment, meaning now I is holding the value 2. Again 2 is checking with less than or equal to 10 and this statement will print and again I incremented. Now I is holding the 3. So like this the loop will iterate repeatedly. Okay. For loop meaning range based. What is the meaning of range? Meaning like the number you can say. For example, if I tell, can you please go and come from layout to Mahatali 10 times. If I say 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, if I say like that, that is the range. If you tell the number, can you please this two work 10 times, can you please do this work 30 times, 40 times. If I tell the number, that is the range base. But in case of while loop there is no range. There is no range until the condition is true, it will be execute the statements. But in case of for loop this is the range base. If I tell the number like can you please do the homework 20 times, so we should do the homework 10 20 times. If I tell, can you please go and come Martali 30 times, we should do uh, going and coming 30 times. Going and coming 30 times. For is the range based loop. If I tell the some number, please do this work this much times, then we will go for the for loop. Meaning, like the clarity. how many times the statement want to execute, then we will go for the for loop. We don't know like the clarity how much times we want to print the statements, then we will go for the while loop. It will print until the condition is true, it will execute all the statements. But like if you want to print the statements 10 times, if you want to print the statements 20 times, clarity how many times you want to print, then we will go for the for loop. We will go for the for loop. If you know the range, then we will go for the for loop. If you don't know the range, then we will go for the while loop. While loop. So this is the syntax for the for loop. First, in the one line itself, we are doing all the things like initializing, and condition and increment. In the one line itself, we are doing all the things. But in case of while, we are doing a condition in one line, increment in one line, checking the condition in one line. In case of this one, we are doing all the things in one line. We are doing all the things in one line. So this syntax is clear. Are you guys clear with my point? For loop main purpose is also executing the statements repeated only. Then for loop is called range loop, range based loop. Range based loop syntax for the for loop is this one. So all the things are in one line only. Initialization, condition, increment. Initialization, condition, increment. I will write the demo program, then we will get the clarity how it is working. I will take one file. So simply I am taking one file. Site also. Uh, so I am taking the file is for demo.java, for demo.java, and simply I am opening a file. Public class for demo. From here to here, this is the scope of class, and every class execution starts from the main method, that is public static void main, and here we need to take the string args, and then I would say, so I need to take the initialization conditions all the in one line. So for is the keyword, and here I need to take int I equal to 1, and I less than or equal to 10, and I plus plus, and if you see from here to here, this is the scope of for loop. Here what I am doing, system dot out dot println, here I will mention one. Then what will happen, internally? It will print 1 to 10. It will print 1 to 10 repeatedly. I am going where the command prompt is there. I am going there, and I am mentioning Java C for demo dot Java. So the file has compiled Java, and for demo. If you see, it is printing 1 to 10. It is printing 1 to 10. So what will happen internally? So I will take MS Paint, and through that I will explain. So some of them will get the clarity, but some of them might be confused. So for those guys, I will explain one more time. what will happen internally? This is the for. So for is the keyword. For is the keyword. So for and here condition. So first condition and from not condition. Here all the things in one line. All the things in one line. Meaning initialization, initialization, condition, condition, and increment or decrement. Increment or decrement. Increment or decrement. From here to here, this is the scope of for block. Scope of for block. Scope of for block. Clear with this point? Initialization, condition, and increment, all we are doing in the single line. Single line. All we are doing in the single line. So okay, this one is clear. Now what I am doing, I will write some dummy program. The dummy program should be like this. For and I am taking int is the data type, I is the variable, and equal to 1, meaning from here to here this is the initialization, and I am checking the condition I less than or equal to 10, and I increment I plus plus. Okay, from here to here what I am doing, I am writing the SOP statement. I am mentioning the I. What will happen internally is, this is the initialization. This one is initialization, and this one is condition. This one is condition, and this one is increment. This one is increment. This much is clear. Now what will happen internally is, first I is the holding the value is 1. You can take this box, and if you observe here, now this is the I container. It is holding the value 1. It is holding the value 1, and it will check the condition. So I less than or equal to 10 or not? Yes. If the condition is like true, it will go, the controller will go inside the block, and it will execute one time. Okay, after this executing, again the control goes to here, and it will increment. What will happen? 1 is replaced by 2. Now instead of 1, 2 will come. Now I is holding the 2. 2 is less than or equal to 10. Yes. So this statement again it will print second time, and the controller again will goes to I increment. What will happen? I increment. So I I increase by 1, meaning instead of 2, I is holding the value now 3. 3 is less than or equal to 10. Yes. Again the control goes to down, and the statement will print third time, and again it will goes to increment. And now instead of 3, it is replaced by 4. Now I is holding the value 4, and it will check the condition, and again it will print the statement fourth time, and again the controller will goes to increment. Then what will happen? Now it is holding the value 5, and it will check the condition. Now I is holding the value 5, and it will check the condition. 5 is less than or equal to 10. Yes. Now again it will print fifth time, and again it will goes to, and it will increase. Now instead of 5, again I is holding the values 6. Again I is value 6. So 6 is less than or equal to 10. Yes, 6 is less than or equal to 10. Yes, so again it will print 6 times and again it will go. So if you take the fifth, if you take the 5 here, what will happen? So until the fifth condition, then again it will goes to 6, again it will goes to 6. 6 is less than or equal to 5. No, the condition is false. The condition is false. So until the condition is true, this block also will execute. If the condition is false, after then it won't execute. It will stop. It will stop. So for is range based loop. For is range based. You know the exactly requirement how many times the statement want to execute. In that time you should go for the for loop. You don't know like how many times you want to execute. In that time you should go for the while loop. This one is clear. I hope this one is clear for loop. Anyone has any confusion? Clear with this point? So we have one more loop, that is for loop. For each loop we will discuss at the concept of arrays. At the concept of arrays we will discuss about the for each loop. Under the for loop we will be having one more loop, that is the nested for loop. Nested for loop. So in the looping statement we have below loops: while loop, do while loop, for loop and for each loop. For each loop we will discuss in the arrays concept. We will discuss in the arrays concept. And this one in the like for loop also we have one more loop, that is the nested for loop. Nested for loop. Nested for loop meaning one loop present inside another loop. One loop present inside another loop. One loop present inside the another loop. One loop present inside the another loop. So is there any syntax for the for loop? Yes, we have the syntax. So the syntax should be like this, like a for, and here we'll be having the initialization, condition, and increment or decrement, increment or decrement, increment or decrement, increment or decrement, and increment or decrement. From here to here, scope of the, from here to here, this is the scope of, this is the outer block. This is the outer block. I will try to explain with this one. For loop, here we have the initialization, initialization, and then I would say condition, condition, and then increment or decrement, increment or decrement. From here to here, this is the scope of for block. This is the scope of for block, and here I am writing inside the for block. I am writing one more for, and here also we have the initialization, initialization, and I am keeping one more for block inside, inside for block. So that is the thing I am doing: initialization, condition, condition, increment or decrement, increment or decrement, and from here to here, this is the scope of the for block. This is inner block. This is inner for block. This is the inner for block. So I will take a different color. This is the inner for block. and from here to here, this is the outer for block. This is the outer for block. This is the from here to here, this is the scope of inner for block, and from here to here, this is the scope of outer for block. Outer for block. Only the thing is, we have the two blocks. Here we have the one for block, and here we have the one for block. So inside this for block, I am keeping this block for block. That's the thing only. Got this one is this is the syntax for the nested for loop. So anyone have any questions about the like syntax for the for block? Syntax for the nested for loop? Syntax for the nested for loop. Syntax clear now? No? Good. Hmm. 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 ఏదో ఒకసారి చెక్ చేస్తాను నేను చెప్తాను. So here we have like this is the one for block, and this is the normally how will you write? This is the one for block, like for, and I would say initialization, condition, increment or decrement, from here to here. This is the one for block, and again what I am doing, I will take one more, that is the for, and here increment, next condition, increment or decrement from here to here. So the same thing what I am doing. So this one I am placing here. This one I am placing inside. That's enough. You guys clear with this point? We have the two. One I am placing outside, one I am placing inside. That's enough. And here we need to remember one point is every execution of outer block. So 5 times inner block will execute. So that is the point you should remember here. So, I will write the statements. Everyone should write this statement. Every execution of outer block, every execution of outer block, outer block, outer for loop. So 5 times inner for loop will execute. Inner for loop will execute. So this is the point you should remember. Every execution of outer loop, so if for example, it will execute one time, the controller will goes to inside, and it will execute 5 times. When the 5 times, so we need to take that like this. For example, I will take the nested for loop. I will take the file. The file name should be, I will take nested for loop, simply text dot. So here what I am taking, nested for dot java, for demo dot java, and public class nested for loop, nested for demo, and from here to here, this is the scope of block, and here I would like to take the public static void main, and here I would like to take the string, and aux. So first here I am taking outer block. Here what I am taking is, first I would like to take the initialization, and I equal to 1, and I will check the condition I less than or equal to 5, and condition I plus plus. So this is the outer for loop. Outer for loop. If you observe here, the same for loop I am copying here and I am placing inside. If I am placing same for loop, that is the inner for loop. This this is now this one is the inner for loop. This one is the inner for loop. This one is the inner for loop. Here I am instead of I will mention the j. 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 This my like till now clear with my point. This is the for block. So I will if you can observe here, this is the from here to here, this is the inner for loop, and from here to here this is the outer for loop. So in this case what I am saying, every execution of outer block, every execution of outer block, 5 times inner block will execute 5 times, 5 times inner block will be execute, 5 times inner loop will execute. Huh? No, no, this is based on our requirement. I am taking, I am telling. So for right now I am taking the 5. So that's why, so this statement is also for whenever you take the 5, then only this statements. If you take the 5, if you take the 10, for example, if you take the 10, then we can tell, you can tell every execution of outer block in 10 times inner block, inner for loop will execute. If you take the 5, if you take the 5, every execution of outer block 5 times inner block will be executed. So that is the scenario. Okay, so this statement is for whenever you take the 5, and if you take the 10, the number will change. 10 times the inner block will execute, the inner loop will execute, inner loop will execute, inner will loop will execute. Now if you see here, so this one most of them are using for pattern printings. So when will you go for the nested for loop is pattern printings, pattern printings. So for example, the pattern printings should be like this. Like they will ask the questions to print the like this, to write the Java program to print the patterns like this. Pattern printing 3 and 4 and 5. So they will ask the question to write a Java program to print the below pattern. To print the below pattern, they will ask the question like this: write a Java program to print the below pattern. To print the below pattern. So here the same way we need to mention system.out.println, system.out.println, and we need to mention here string as the star and semicolon, and here we need to mention system.out.print. Here one more question also we have. The question is, what is the difference between the print and println? What is the difference between the print and println? Mm-hmm. For a demo, and yeah. So that one we'll see. Before that one, we'll try to understand this concept. So here I have using like println, and here I am using only print statement, and here I am using I. Here I am using I. I'm saving the file. I'm saving the file. I am going to my command prompt and Java C, Java C nested for demo, nested for demo dot Java, and Java nested for demo. You see, this is printing like this. So instead of this one, you can take print statement here, and you can take println here, and save the file. Simply go there, and we can run the same file one more time, and you get the pattern. You will get the pattern. You will get the pattern. They will ask. They will ask the question. What is the difference between print and println? What is the difference between print and println? This is the syntax. What is the difference between print and println method? First, we'll try to understand with the print ln method. Println, which is used to print the statement, and the cursor, after printing the statement, the cursor will move to the next line. Cursor will move to the next line. Cursor will move to next line. Next line. So println meaning which is used to print the statement only, but the cursor will move to the next line. Cursor will move to the next line. And print method is what print method will do is, which is used to print the statement, and the cursor will be available in the same line. Will be in same line. Same line. So you guys clear with this point? Println meaning which is used to print the statement, and the cursor will, after printing the statement, the cursor will move to next line. Cursor will move to the next line. In the print method, which is used to print the statements, and the cursor will be the same line. The cursor will be the same line. The cursor will be the same line. So you guys clear with this point? So I will explain this program, how the program is happens internally. This is the program. So I will explain this program, how the program is happening internally. We'll get the clarity. For example, this is the for loop, and int I equal to 1, and I'm checking the condition. I less than or equal to 5, I plus plus. Okay. For loop int j 1, j less than or equal to 5, j plus plus, j plus plus. From here to here, this is the scope of here. What I am taking, so print statement I am taking. Print I am taking as a star. Double quotation I am taking as a star, semicolon, and here I am taking one more statement, that is the SOP println statement. Println statement, here I am taking star. I am taking star. Okay, fine. Here what is happening internally is, so we have the one statement. The statement is this one. The statement is this one. Every execution of outer for loop, 5 times inner for loop will execute. Inner for loop will execute. So first the controller will go. The controller will here I is initializing with one value, and it will check the condition. So 1 is less than or equal to 5. Yes. Controller will goes to inner, and controller will goes to inner, and here the controller will check j is less than or equal to 1, j is initializing with 1, and j is less than or equal to 5. So j is less than or equal to 5, and this condition also fine. Then the controller will goes to this one and it will print. And what it will do after printing this one, j value increment, by 1. So initially j is holding the value is 1. Initially this is the j, this is the j. Initially j is holding the value is 1, 1. uh, it will check the condition I is 1 is less than equal to 5, and it will print, and the controller will increase by 1 instead of 1. So it replace with 2. So now j is holding the 2, and it will check the condition. The same process, it will happen like this. But if you want to print the pattern like this, we need to pass I instead of 5, instead of 5. So if I pass the I here, so then what will happen? So I will take some. Yeah, now what I'm taking? I'm taking 5. I'm taking I. What here it will happen internally is, first row controller will comes inside, and j is holding the value, and here I is also holding the value 1, 1, and it will comes inside, and uh, it will check the condition. J is also holding, it will print this one, and it will print this one. It will check, it should be always less than equal to 1. It will check the condition, it will print this statement, and it will increase, it will increase, meaning now j is holding 2. 2 is less than or equal to I? No. So that's why again it will goes to here, and it will I value increase. Now 2, it will come inside the loop, and now it will come inside the loop. Now j is holding the 2, and 2 is less than or equal to 2, yes, and it will print, and again it will check the condition, and it will goes to here, and so this will print like this. So again loop is iterate until the condition is true. Until the condition is satisfied, the loop will be iterate. Clear with this point? So in case of for loop, we need to remember these things. So I will repeat one more time all the statements. Looping statements meaning to execute the statements repeatedly. In Java, we have below loops. What are the loops? While loop, do while loop, for loop. Under the for loop, we have one more loop, that is the nested for loop. For each loop is the, like we will discuss in the arrays concept. Okay, what does it mean by while loop? Which is used to execute the statements until the condition is true. What is the syntax for the while loop? While, condition, and statements. It will check the condition until the condition is true. The statements will execute. Next, do while. What is the purpose of do while? Uh, which is used to execute the statements first, and then it will check the condition. Okay. What is the syntax for the do while? Do statements and while condition. In the interview perspective, they will ask the question, what is the difference between the while and do while loop? While and do while loop. While, which is used to execute the statements until the condition is true. Do while is which is used to execute the statements first and then check the condition. Next note, can you please in the do while loop, before checking the condition, it will execute the statement at least one time. At least one time. Next, for loop, range based loop. Range based loop. In the interview perspective, they will ask what is the difference between the while and for loop. While and for loop. Then what is your answer? For loop is executing the statements. It is the range based. If you know the range, like how many times you want to execute the statements, we will go for the for loop. If you don't know like how many times the statement want to print, then we will go for the while. Okay. Next, it is the range based loop. What is the syntax for the for loop? For loop syntax. Condition. Uh, Before like in the while and do while, so these are in different lines. So among those do while and while also, so do while we will use rare cases. Like widely we will use the while loop only. Do while is we will use rare cases, but most of the time we will use while only. Okay, we will use the while only. Next, for loop, which is used to execute the statements repeatedly. It is the range based loop. Syntax is this one: initialization, condition, increment, increment or decrement, increment or decrement, increment or decrement. So inside the like under the loop for loop will be having one more category, one more type, that is the nested for loop. So nested for loop, one loop present inside the another loop. So syntax should be like one for loop syntax should be present inside the another loop. Here we have the one more question. What is the difference between the print and println methods? Print is the method, println is the method. Then what is the difference between the print and println? Println, which is used to print the statements, and the cursor will move to the next line. Next line. Print method, which is used to print the statement, and the cursor will be in the same line. And the cursor will be in the same line. Are you guys clear with my point? Okay, I will